shorty, what your name is? Do you have a man who you came with?
So I guess we can get into it. All right. You ready?
Let's go.
Welcome back, y'all. Street Academy Podcast, where we keep one foot in the academy and one foot in the streets. And we back, and we back.
Little Sunday soul remix.
Little Sunday service on there. Little Sunday service. Let's go. Dr. Hater, how you feeling?
Listen, I'm here. It's April. Summer break is around the corner. It's starting to get warm outside.
Yeah.
I'm
Is it
doing
though?
all right.
Because you in Pennsylvania. Is it getting warm? Because it's not in Atlanta.
Really?
It's cold.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we had like some snow, like some super random snow last week, but this week we're good. Like yesterday it was nice and warm. The sun was out. The birds were chirping.
Yeah.
Like spring is trying to, knock that door in.
I don't know what's. I think the weather is punishing Atlanta for being open during COVID. Because it is like I'm still in the hoodie. I'm still like, yeah.
Weather's like, y'all gonna stay inside.
Y'all
gonna stay inside.
Well, you don't want to stay inside when you're supposed to. You gonna stay inside now.
Wow.
While everybody else out playing. Now you on
yeah.
I'm like, man, why is it so cold here? So, but nah, that's what's up. Yeah, it's man, life is good. Life be lifing sometimes, but overall, man, I'm happy. I'm excited. I am excited about the summertime coming up. I got some things I got to do, some research stuff I got to get done. That's kind of coming down the pipeline, and but I am going on vacation. I'm starting my vacation plan. So yeah. My plan was to go to. So I was gonna follow in your footsteps. I was supposed to go to Cuba.
Oh,
I was supposed to go to Cuba. Yeah.
I'm trying to get back as soon as possible.
Yeah, I was supposed to go there with some friends and whatnot, but actually one of my homeboys, he couldn't make it. I think he got deployed or whatever for because of everything that's going on. Yeah. So I'm gonna just do Texas. I'm gonna just do I think I'm gonna just do like Houston and Dallas or something like that.
Okay.
So yeah. I'm thinking I'm gonna do that. So I'll figure it out. But I've never been to Houston. I've never been to Texas at all.
Okay.
So I said, well, this will be a great time to, do something different. So I think I'm gonna just do that.
The thing I remember most about Texas, I have a couple of distinct memories about Texas. I remember Texas speed limits being pretty high and Texas being really flat. Yes. So I remember just like hauling down the highway because I think the speed limit might be 75 or 80 in some places, which means that you can go beyond that if that's what's in your spirit.
Yeah.
And it certainly wasn't mine. So, I just remember going really fast.
Yeah.
And I remember not being able to find any kind of vegetarian, vegan, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. So
okay. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I've never been to Texas, man. I heard so much good stuff about both Dallas and Houston. So I'm excited about going there. So
I will say Houston traffic is like Atlanta traffic. So just prepare your heart and mind for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. What's up? Well, listen up, y'all. This episode, as you know, or Minisode. We missing godmother Decatur Amber K. You know what I'm saying? She got things she got to get done, but we gonna get this done. But the next full episode gonna be all three of us. And by now you probably already seen, you may have already even seen some minisodes with all three of us. So as you know, we still back and forth doing our thing in between our own responsibilities. But yeah, the next full episode should be all three of us, inshallah. So that's what it is. With this episode, though, you know how me and Dr. Hater, this be the hating episode. So if you just see us, we about to hate on a bunch of stuff. That's all we gonna.
Let's go.
We go into popular culture and we just go into the hot topics and we just talk about whatever, like whatever.
The nonsense.
Yeah, the nonsense. So got to get your initial thoughts. I don't, you can't, by the time this come up, I don't even know if this is going to be as hot of a topic anymore, but we still got to discuss it. Got to know how you felt about when it happened, how you felt about the slap heard around the world, you know, and I know by now it might be old, but we can't have a conversation
and not address it.
And not address it. We at least got to address it. And by this time, you probably heard every part of, you know, the discussion or whatever people talking about. So let me just get your thoughts on that real quick.
Oh gosh. Well, I wasn't watching it live. Like, I don't know how I would have felt in the moment had I not already heard what had happened by the time like I went back to see it and all that stuff. I do kind of wish that I had seen it live so I could like form my own sorts of like thoughts and opinions about how it went down. I remember one of the things that stood out to me immediately was Lupita and her face, because I was like, she represents she represents so many of us. Just like I'ma just sit here and see what happens. I'm not gonna get involved, but my eyes can't hide everything. So I appreciate, shout out to you, Lupita. I don't know, like I think if I were to just like make it really simple, I wish that Will Smith did not slap Chris Rock. I wish he did not. On the other hand, like I understand why he felt like that's what he had to do, just like in terms of all of his options and him thinking like, what's the best one in this moment? Like I get how he got, like how he rationalized that in such a quick amount of time. I wish he didn't do it though. Like I think other options could have played out well for him. Like he doesn't leave this situation without being the villain. And you know, in some aspects rightfully so. Like I don't know if I can fully say that somebody making a joke, whether it was an incredibly poor taste, deserves like that kind of response. But at the same time, like, let me be honest, I tell my students all the time, like, say things in this class. Like, this class is a safe space for you to say things. Like I have a lot of white students, they don't know necessarily the right words, like the nomenclature when they're talking about race. And a lot of my students are wealthy as well. Like they don't know the right words to use to just talk about people who aren't themselves. And I say, like, this is the space because we can correct it and move on. If you use certain words or say certain things in other contexts, like you might call me, you see that I'm Black, you might use an outdated term in this classroom. My responsibility to you in my role as professor is to help you understand like why that's wrong. If I meet you in the street, however, like it may carry some different consequences. So, you know, I get that sometimes there's consequences to your actions depending on when and how you decide to move. You know, there's no such thing as being inconsequential in this world. I wish again that Will Smith didn't slap him, but again, I understand that's where he landed in terms of his options.
Man, I mean, so many different positions on it. I think the only thing that I would probably offer that would be new is, and I put this up on my Facebook, is it's not Will's fault, it's not Jada's fault, it's not Lupita's fault, it's not
definitely not Lupita.
It's not
she was sitting there minding her business.
You know whose fault all this is?
Who?
August Alsina. If he would have just kept his goddamn mouth shut, you know what time it was. Jay was like, I'm cool with it. Will was like, I'm cool with it. Everybody cool with it. If you would have just kept your mouth shut, none of this would have happened. They wouldn't have had to go to the red table talk.
No.
They wouldn't have been under all this scrutiny.
Mm-mm.
Will wouldn't have been getting picked on for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Jada wouldn't have got picked on for the past 2. All of this probably would not have happened had August Alsina just kept his mouth closed, stuck to the NDA, and
Yeah.
took your money. But
Yeah.
now you want to be all famous, bruh. Why? So I feel like all this is August Alsina. That's who I blame.
I didn't think that through, but I mean, points are being made here. Points are being made here. Because I do think about like, it has been rumored for the longest time. As long as people have said Will and Jada, one of the things that came out after that was that they are swingers, or they have an open marriage, like, you know, they just be doing whatever with whoever.
Right.
And they have said no, or, you know, sidestepped that, or whatever for the longest time. And people have kind of left it alone. I don't know why that August Alsina situation gained so much traction. I wish they had not gone to the red table talk about that, because you are correct in terms like every little thing that they did beyond that scenario has been met with the highest level of scrutiny.
Right. And I think that's unfortunate. I mean, like I said, we've heard every part of Will and Chris, and, you know, Chris shouldn't have made the joke, and, you know, Will shouldn't have done it. And I think it's all nuance. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's without critique in all of it. I don't like this idea that Will was wrong, point plain and simple. No, it's not point plain and simple. There's a lot of discussion in between. Should he have slapped Chris Rock? No. But sometimes people need to get slapped. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying Chris needed to get slapped, but stop acting like and this is another part I want to talk about. I don't like this idea, this kind of sensationalization of Hollywood or the world as this peaceful place, and there is no place for violence in a peaceful world. There's no place for violence in the academy, and there's no place for violence in situations like. Stop acting like
that don't even make no sense.
Stop acting like Russia is not killing innocent Ukrainians right now. Stop acting like the police ain't out here killing innocent Black people right now. Stop acting like Harvey Weinstein ain't just innocently violate innocent women for decades, and y'all knew about it. Stop acting like violence don't exist, right? Will Smith, he did what he did. Was it right? No, to a degree. Again, it's nuance, but stop acting like, oh, I can't believe that there's this violence in Hollywood. Man, shut the hell up, man. Because there's violence everywhere. And y'all quick, I mean, white folks quick to be cool with violence if they feel attacked, or their rights or their people or their country or whatever feel attacked. You ready to drop bombs on people. So because this man felt like his wife was being attacked, he slapped dude. Again, I wish he didn't. I don't necessarily think it was right, but stop acting like y'all holier than that. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, you know, as you were talking, I went to, you know, there's a whole conversation that we could have about our obsession with violence within this country, but even the obsession with violence within Hollywood, like half of those movies that are out there winning are about someone slaughtering people and, you know, all kinds of like wars and fights and all that kind of stuff. You know, I'm thinking about, wasn't Denzel Washington the last Black man to win Best Actor Oscar?
No, Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx won an Oscar?
Yeah, Jamie Foxx won an Oscar for Ray for Best Actor.
Did he? I missed that completely. Was that after Denzel Washington?
Unless, I think they said Forrest Whitaker won too, I think.
Oh, then
But Denzel won it for Training Day, and then...
Which is where my mind went to immediately. Like, of all the things Denzel has ever done, to only win an Oscar for Training Day.
Yeah, but afterward, but Training Day came out before Ray.
Okay.
Best Actor, yeah.
Well, clearly y'all can see I am not up on my Oscar Black history because
Yeah.
all of this is news to me.
Yeah, because it was Sydney. How many Black actors have won Best Actor Oscars history? Did you know only 5 Black actors have won Best Actor awards? It was Sidney Poitier, Denzel, Jamie Foxx, Forrest Whitaker. Oh, and The Last King of Scotland. That was in 2006.
Which
So Jamie
is
Foxx won
one
that
of the
year.
most violent movies.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Super, super violent film.
So we could talk about Hollywood's obsession with gathering together to celebrate violence on film.
Right.
We could talk about that.
Right.
And to your point, like we could talk about the obsession with violence just generally, like Ukraine and Russia, but also the US's obsession for like getting in the mix.
Oh my God.
And I'm not saying that people should not be humanitarian. I'm specifically talking about the role of government being everywhere other than within your own country. Doing, you know, and I know that we were talking about this earlier, like the anti-lynching bill that just got passed.
Right.
If y'all weren't so concerned about what everybody else was doing, y'all could have passed that bill 100 years ago.
100 years
that's
ago.
When the lynching was at its height.
Right.
So,
and when they kept moving, I think it was either I think the Senate kept blocking it, but the House kept pushing forward for decades and decades and decades. So, I mean, yeah, I just that part really like irked me. Another part of it that really irked me is, and this is so two more parts that I felt about the, you know, the slap heard around the world before we go to the next topic, is that number one, Will Smith has reminded us that white society, and particularly Hollywood, cares nothing about your actions and your respectability politics when it comes to Black people. Because Will has literally been spotless for 30 years.
Yeah.
I'm talking about as soon when he came on The Fresh Prince in 1990, 1991, spotless. Like the man ain't done nothing wrong. You heard these little rumors or whatever. He's made y'all billions and billions of dollars. He's been a top box office celebrity, everything. He's literally admitted to putting his career, putting Hollywood before his family for years and years and years. He's giving you and us as entertainers everything he has. Now, why he did it, of course, we know that he's had his own identity issues and all this other kind of stuff for a long time, but he's given it all to Hollywood for 30 years, spotless. And this man trips, right? Goes off the deep end. And I'm not saying that there's no punishment, no consequences, but he trips, goes off the deep end one time. And now it's like, take away, you know, you hear people say, take away the Oscar. He's removed from the Academy. Right. Now he's a thug. Now he's it. Now he's and it's like, yo, Black people, don't forget. They don't. Michael told us they don't care about us. Stop trying. You don't have to try to be perfect for them. You could be perfect for as long as you want. You could mess up. You could be you could be Trouble Man. You could be Tupac. Always messing up. Always in a. It don't matter because they're gonna only see one thing, and that's what Will Smith talked about in that Fresh Prince episode. They don't see none of that. So you could be as perfect as you want to try to be to get them to. And I'm not saying Will never necessarily did that, or he was trying to be perfect for them, but he was spotless. And the man messed up one time in a big way, and now it's like, now they want to throw him away. And so hopefully they just let Black people know, if you want to act a certain way, let it be because you want to, but don't be because you're trying to impress white folks or impress society, because they're gonna always see you as a nigga, as the same person. You ain't gonna be no different than another person. And as soon as you mess up, you can quickly be replaced.
I'll just say this additionally, like, yes to all of that, But another important like nuance to this is that because he is a wealthy person in the midst of other wealthy people, like their mess ups get handled differently than the average person.
Right.
Because if Will Smith was a seat filler versus being Will Smith and who he is with all the money and power that he has, he would have been in jail. He absolutely would have been in jail. He would not have been allowed to continue sitting there. He would have been banned immediately.
For sure.
So even within all of this and them, kind of painting him as like this thug, and, I've seen some of the things that folks have said that are really quite ridiculous behind all of this. But, even with people, just kind of being, painting him in a super negative light, even with all that, like, if the only consequence that comes out of this is that he resigns from being a member of the Academy, then he gets a lot more privilege than the rest of us anyhow.
That's true. You got a point. You got a point on that. I'm trying to look up the next thing I was gonna say, but there is a certain financial privilege and power privilege that Will has, and I don't think they're gonna label him this, like they did Bill Cosby or Harvey Weinstein or anybody. I don't think his career is or legacy is gonna go down like that.
Right.
But I do think that so he has the financial, what you're saying is he has the class privilege and the power privilege that a regular person like myself or you or anybody else who doesn't have that, he'll be okay in that respect. But if it was another white person, if it was a white man, a white woman or whatever who had done the same thing as him, he's definitely gonna get punished a lot worse than they would, is what you're saying.
I'm saying that if he were a Black person without means, then that Black person would have gotten punished way worse.
Gotcha.
So I understand how his Blackness is factoring in how people are interpreting him and interpreting their actions, calling him, a thug and saying that he's violent and all these kinds of things. Where in the past, however long, he has shown that to not be the case. Right. And honestly, specifically as it relates to Chris Rock, I think that both of the Smiths have been, at least publicly, fairly gracious to him in terms of not publicly degrading him or, just kind of rebutting to some of the things that he said over time. But so pushing forward, like I understand that because he's Black, people are interpreting his actions in a particular way and associating them with like this violent thug-like stereotype. Gotcha. At the same time, because he is wealthy, that like the consequences are people think he's a thug and he gets to resign. Like he doesn't have to get pulled up on charges. He doesn't have to go to jail. He doesn't have to have a criminal record. Like he doesn't lose his job.
Right.
Like all of these things, his like class status protects him from.
Got you. Okay, that makes sense. The last thing I wanted to say, and I didn't know if you had another point you wanted to make before we move to the next topic. I saw this meme, and I think you will appreciate it.
Oh, okay. Lord.
This says, between Will and Kanye, marriage looks taxing. Listen to that part. Between Will and Kanye, marriage looks taxing. Future is never this stressed.
Future is the stress.
Okay? Future gonna be the stress. You see Future, he be having his shades on, his heart. Future be like, man, I'm good. We need Future like, I'm not stressed.
Oh gosh, do not have me on here defending Kimberly and Kardashian. Please do not do that.
I'm just saying, it's something to think about. It's something to think about.
Listen, I think
Will and
Jada.
Kanye out here stressing over these women. Future, like I done told y'all.
Listen, Kanye is stressing about everything,
Yeah.
and he would not be as stressed if he would take his medication. But that's a
Right,
whole nother
right,
episode.
right.
But Jada has really gotten a bad rap. I'm just not gonna say anything about Kimberly because
Yeah.
I just don't want to be put in the position of being defensive of her.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Jada really has gotten a bad rap.
Yeah.
I'm not a Jada apologist, but I think
Yeah.
that she's caught some bullets for things that
For sure.
she probably shouldn't have. So
For sure, definitely. Yeah, I always try to find a way to be a Future apologist. Always try to find a way to support my brothers. Sometimes they don't want to be understood. So
oh Lord. Listen, all I can say is that the list of women who Future has been with who have gone on to thrive post Future is lengthy. So, and the queen among them is Sierra.
It's Sierra. I love Sierra. I got love for Sierra.
Yes. Aging backwards.
Yes.
Just living her life.
Yes. Yeah. Salute that sister. I got love for her. Next, but so I don't know if you want to transition us to the next topic.
I can because
you want to introduce it and talk about it.
Yeah, because I think the interesting through line between this whole Will Smith scenario and the next scenario is the Black woman who gets demonized.
Yeah.
And maybe there's some validity to what people say, and maybe there's not, but there's a lot of gray area.
Yeah.
So Jada is definitely that person in the Will Smith scenario. And then the next person that we're talking about is Monique. And I remember when Monique came out with her videos and she was talking about how Lee Daniels blacklisted her and, she was having all kinds of Hollywood struggles. She was definitely the butt of many jokes.
Yes.
Many jokes.
Yes.
And people didn't believe her either. People were like, why would he do this thing to you? Your story is not believable. And certainly there were some people who they were like, no, the math what you're saying is it's adding up. We believe you because of what is adding up. But I think some of those naysayers might have to backtrack a little bit because she got that apology from Lee Daniels. I don't know too much about the whole scenario because I didn't follow the story super closely. But, I just think it's super interesting that this man apologized to her in, I think, a pretty public way.
Yeah.
To say, I'm sorry for blacklisting you and I'm help you move forward to get where you need to be or whatever it might be. So, yeah.
So, yeah, for those who might not know, so Lee Daniels apologized to Monique. For years, Monique has been wanting an apology and protesting the fact that she's been blacklisted essentially from Hollywood because she would not participate in the marketing part of the movie Precious. Precious did really well at the time, made a lot of money, but she was contracted to shoot and act. And she fulfilled her contract. And when they asked her to do more, she refused. It was not in her contract. That's not what she signed on for. Most times people will just do it because they don't want to shake things up. They don't want to make the powers that be mad. But she said, well, no, you should have put that in my contract and you didn't. So no, I'm not going to, be a part of the marketing part. Had you done that though, and I knew that I would have done it, right? And so because of that, she felt that Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Lee Daniels had pretty much blacklisted her and stopped her from being able to work as much as she was working before, because after Precious, she didn't have as many opportunities come her way. This led to her wanting everybody to boycott Netflix for not wanting to pay her as much as Amy Schumer, who's another white woman comedian, or as much as a Chris Rock or Dave Chappelle. So there was a whole big thing about that. And like you said, Jackie, people were hating on her. People said she was crazy. How you gonna tell people to boycott Netflix? Do you sell as much as Chris Rock? Do you make as much money as Dave Chappelle or Amy Schumer? Whatever. And so it was a big thing, and people were, like you said, were saying she was lying or saying that she was asking for too much. Many people were saying that, how you gonna go up against Tyler Perry, Oprah, Lee Daniels? These are some of the most powerful people in Hollywood, and telling her she's crazy and that sort of thing. But what I thought was interesting, because this is a power struggle, and it probably would have continued, and it's interesting that, and this is something I often say about Black and white people, Black and white society, power meets power, and power only understands power. And so you have somebody like a Monique who doesn't have as much power trying to go up against a Tyler Perry and an Oprah and a Lee Daniels. Is she probably not gonna get what she want? And I want to quote my brother Sean Carter, the great philosopher Sean Carter, when he says, I'm gonna quote him and then I'm gonna do the reverse. You could either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, right?
I didn't know that's where you were going. I thought you were going with don't bring a knife to a gunfight, pain to a test.
Listen, don't let us go back and forth. You know we the hip hop generation, so you know we got the lyrics here. We got Jay-Z lyrics, all of them,
all the lyrics.
That's a good one too. I like that. But yeah, I was thinking like you can either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, which is actually goes back to Will Smith.
Exactly.
Him. But I would even say it could be the reverse. You could either die a villain or see yourself, or live long enough to see yourself become a hero, because the person who ended up being the power that was necessary to negotiate with the power of Tyler Perry, Lee Daniels, and Oprah was 50 Cent.
What?
And 50 Cent has always been the villain in Hollywood, the villain in music. People love to hate 50 Cent. 50 Cent.
Well, let me say this. I'm gonna let you finish, but 50 Cent is extremely rude. Like, I've seen some of the things that he said to and about other people, and I'm like, you don't have to say all that.
Yes.
Like, he's rude and he is petty. I remember when, I guess, Ja Rule had some show and 50 Cent bought up like all the seats in like the first couple of rows so that they could be empty. And I was like, that is so petty. Brilliant. What petty? People are hating him unjustifiably. Like, I understand why people hate this man.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. He's a villain. Everybody looks at him as the bully. He's the villain. And rightfully so, because he's made some messed up posts. He's done a lot of petty things. 50 is just he's incredible. Like, I don't understand why he do what he do. But it was 50 Cent though, who it was maybe like 3 weeks ago. He made a post on Instagram and he said, yo, I just went to Monique's comedy show for the Super Bowl weekend. He said it was incredible. She had me like in tears. She was so funny. And she said, I don't understand why she's not growing, why she's not bigger. And he was like, he made a post. He said, we should only cancel things that are harmful to our culture. But if something in our culture needs to be celebrated, we need to celebrate that. So he was like, I'm gonna take care of it. We gonna get Monique back where she belongs. And literally in like 2 or 3 more posts, he said, just got off the phone with Tyler Perry. He said he ain't got no beef with Monique. He said he can't speak for Oprah, but he said Oprah has definitely mentioned her name in places where he feels like she can be a success. But he was like, we have no issues with Monique. And 50 was like, I'm gonna make some calls. We're gonna make this happen. And 3 weeks later, Lee Daniels apologizes. So 50 Cent was the one that brokered that whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
He was the one that brokered the whole thing.
I immediately saw like a very contemporary Grinch movie happening. How this man went from stealing Christmas to his heart growing 3 sizes bigger. Oh my gosh. Lee Daniels, this is your next script right there. Tyler Perry, because this is very much a bad Tyler Perry movie. So Tyler Perry, get your wigs out. That's your next production right there.
Yo, that'll be a great title for this. 50 Cent, the Grinch. No. 50 Cent is the Grinch that stole Hollywood. I don't know. I'll come up with a title. We got to come up with a title because that's such a great comparison you made. That's such a great comparison. The Grinch that stole Hollywood, the Grinch that stole Monique. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah.
We'll figure something out. But that's a good title. I like that. But anyway, but yeah, it was 50. But the thing about it is 50 got power. You know, no pun intended. But
I was gonna say, I think his foray into Hollywood is quite interesting, and I don't know enough of a backstory. Let me just say this: if you watch this, 50 Cent, like, I don't want no problems. I don't know what you be doing. I don't want no problems with you.
Let me tell you something. I feel like your husband will be like, listen, okay, I know you big and all. I throw a brick at your ass or something.
I just asked him. I was like, if we were somewhere and someone said something crazy to me, would you slap them? And he was like, no, I'm not slapping anybody. So I know for sure. He would be like, you got it. You good.
He's lying. I don't believe him, man. I believe him. He might not slap him, but he'll throw a rock.
That's what I think too.
I throw a rock at you. You ain't gonna talk about my lady. I'm gonna fight 50 Cent. But goddamn, if I don't throw a stick.
I would understand. I would certainly understand if he's like, "Nah, I can't do this." I'd be like, "Listen, we got to move. Like, what do we have to do?"
But that's actually another conversation too. That was another conversation I was having with friends about, women wanting men to protect them. But at the same time, again, there comes consequences, and not just interracially, but intraracially. There are a lot of men in jail. I know actually a few that are in prison or that are underneath the ground because they were protecting a Black woman. You know what I'm saying? And it's not the Black woman's fault. I'm not saying that, but it just went left. Like it escalated. But it started from that. You know what I'm saying? So that's a whole nother conversation, but that's something we might want to really talk about. And again, I'm not blaming Black women. I do believe we're supposed to protect Black women, but that could also be a reason why a lot of Black men are careful and have to be very strategic about how we move when it comes to that. Because there's just so, I know of people who are in prison right now, and I'm like maybe second or third degree away from people who are under the ground because of a scenario going wrong.
Yeah, I believe it. I I even think of like an incident before, I'm trying to remember if it was before we got married or before, even if before we got engaged, where me and Kunle were in like a bit of a social setting with like lots of people. This was clearly 2019 or before, because nobody was like, we were just all out just living life. And I remember someone said something sideways to me. A man said something sideways to me, and I think Astra was there. And maybe a couple other friends were there. Astrid's been on the pod before. And I told her what happened. She was like, man, I can't believe he said that to you. Like, that's extremely rude. And then, of course, like I said to Kume, like, oh, this guy said something to me. And he still to this very day is like, who is this guy? I just want to talk to him.
Right.
And I would not tell him, I would not point this guy out. Like, I would not, because I was like, we don't need to end where this situation possibly could. Like, there's nothing you could say in this moment to resolve a scenario like that.
Right.
So yeah, like, it's believable. I think people say things sideways all the time, and fisticuffs follow, and sometimes things beyond fisticuffs follow. So
right. Yeah, we gotta really. I think that is a definitely a conversation we definitely want to have for sure because it's tough. It is tough, but yeah, like going back to this notion of like power, like had 50 Cent not gotten involved, this probably would still be going on. But because 50 has so much power in television now, and now he can negotiate that power with a Lee Daniels. You know, maybe he ain't got Tyler Perry, Oprah, but just, you know, what he's able to do, what he's able to accomplish and the moves he's been making, he was able to help get Monique back on. So I mean, it's interesting to see 50's reputation kind of turn a little bit, despite all of the crazy stuff that he's been doing, you know what I'm saying, for a long time. So
yeah, I mean, I had no idea. I had no idea. Well, obviously, like I knew he was the villain, but I had no idea that he had this little Santa Claus spirit, or I don't even know whatever to call it, but like, you know, this spirit of reconciliation. And I don't think of any part of him as reconciliatory. So
right.
That's super interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, coming from, you know, I mean, people will probably say, you know, he came from Queens, poverty, all that other kind of stuff. You know, it takes a while to get out of that, to come out of that survival, you know.
That man has been out longer than he's been in. So
no, I said it. He was like, I've been rich longer than I've been broke. I confess.
Yeah.
That's
you know,
true. You're right about that.
Yeah, what is it, like 20, 30 years that he's been?
Yeah, it's been about 20 years since he's been big. Yeah, that's true. So, you're right about it. I can't lie.
And I don't even think that man lives in New York. I think he lives in like maybe a Jersey, maybe a Connecticut.
He ain't nowhere near the projects.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that he's, again, Mr. Cent, I want no problems with you. I want no smoke.
I feel you. But yeah, so hating on these topics, hating on these folks. What's your takeaway? What's your takeaway?
You know, Hollywood is a place that feels real, like familiar, like when people do and say things, it's like, yeah, I get it. But, you know, there's several degrees of separation. You know, there's some things that are going on that I'm like, that would never happen to me unless I died and was reborn in a fairy tale. So, you know, those sections of the paper where it's like celebrities, they're just like us. Like, I might understand some of the things that they do, but I don't live that way fully. So that's my takeaway.
Man, I think my takeaway is that Jay-Z line. Either live long enough to see yourself become the villain or live long enough to see yourself become the hero. And we see that in both situations. You know what I mean? Yeah. Live long, because you have no idea what's going to end up happening or what opportunity is going to present itself to make you look like a hero or make you look like a villain. So just keep living in and don't get caught up on either one, because you can quickly go from one to the other.
Listen, and this is why I understand why Beyonce don't say nothing but whatever's in her songs.
Listen.
You will find out whatever you need to find out. Maybe you'll get a little social media post, but other than that,
that's it.
That's it. And I get it.
Yeah. No, I love it. So, man, this was a good lengthy Minisode.
It was good.
Where we talk about popular culture and what's in the news. And I always got to bring up Future. You always got to bring up Beyonce.
Listen,
the people that we appreciate.
Good and evil gotta fight it out.
I know Beyonce been doing some crazy stuff, man. She need to stop, man. She need to that evil.
First of all,
the evil that she displays is
come get him. Beehive, come get him. He's right here.
I don't want no. You don't want no smoke with 50. I don't want no smoke with the Beehive. Y'all good.
They gonna get you.
Y'all keep y'all stingers in y'all behind. I don't want it. I'm good. I'm cool. But yes. So Been another episode, Minisode, Street Academy Podcast, where we keep 1 foot in the academy and 1 foot in the streets. You can follow us at Street Academy Podcast. You can follow Dr. Hader at
Jack of the Mission on all the things.
Jack of the Mission, all the things. J. Paul Grant on IG, JPG on Facebook. And I don't even really be on Twitter like that. I heard it's a very toxic place. I'm in a space where I'm trying to stay away from as much toxicity as possible. So yeah. Anyway, love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate all the comments, the subscribers. Subscribers have been growing. Followers have been growing. It's been great. Keep just rocking with us. We just gonna keep doing what we can, putting out content. We do this because we have fun with it. So keep rocking with us.
All right, y'all.
So
That you know got their feet upon the neck of the haters, the game and the devil like came in.